words and voices and things.
Wait, now I'm unmuted. Okay, cool. So everything should be going well.
Ah, there you are.
Sweet. I think everything looks good. I don't know if you can. There we go. Even see a video feed at all.
I can't. I'm on my phone. I followed the link on my phone.
Oh, are you? Is it on Patreon that you're watching it?
Yeah. But I won't be able to keep watching it because the delay is terrible.
Oh yeah. Well, I wonder what my microphone is hearing something. I bet it's hearing my air conditioner in the background. Hold on. My gain. Gained. Oh, that's the gain. The wrong direction. Hello. Hell, I don't know what this does. Whatever. Look, it's growing pains. It's fine. It's gonna be no issue.
Sure.
And not that there's anyone in here to like tell me that things are not doing things, but I'm gonna post on the Facebooks
Okay.
and just let people know that we're doing things.
Okay.
There we go. It looks so pretty. I really like that background.
Yeah, I did
this
too.
forest pick is awesome.
You're still piddling.
Who's piddling? I'm not piddling. There's no piddling happening.
You're piddling.
There's a lot to focus on. I gotta make sure everything works right.
You're going to spend the whole time focusing on making things work right and forget to say anything.
That's not true. Well, there's not even anyone here yet, so I think we're fine.
Oh, so you can tell if anyone's there?
Well, I figured if there was a people here, someone would come in and say something. It doesn't seem like anyone is in here saying something. It's fine.
See, that's a lot of faith in people.
No, people will do a thing. Listen, if there's a people out there and those people are watching, come in here and say something so that I can know that there's people. Yeah.
Know that there's people.
Well, and it says there's no concurrent viewers so far. So see, I can tell. It's no big deal. It's not going to be a problem because this is going to be logged on the Patreon, and people will be able to come and see things at a later date and see how hilarious and adorable I am and you are. And it's going to be fine. They're going to be more prepared for the next one that we do, and everything's just it's going to work out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course. I totally agree.
Do you think the ears would go in front or behind? I kind of feel like the ears would go in front. Have you seen that commercial about the guys like backpacking kind of through the hills, and like he comes across these girls in these really short skirts, and like they've got little white ears on, and they're dancing to this like really kind of woodland kind of fairy-esque type music, and
I have not seen that.
and they're dressed kind of like sheep, and he's watching them, and he takes his backpack off, and they get a little skittish, and then he stops, and they start dancing again. They're very seductive, and like this biker rides by and looks up, and he sees this guy like going to town on a sheep, just going at it with this sheep. I don't think it's an American commercial. It's hilarious.
I would not think that it would be American, no.
So
Probably Scandinavian.
Europeans have the best commercials because they can just do whatever.
Yeah, they're not encumbered by the rules that we are.
No, no, and that's one thing I kind of want to rant about. We talked about this the other day, you and I. Oh, you know what? Before we get started, I need to address the field. So, thank you to everyone who came to this first weekday whiskey rant stream. I don't expect much of it, but it's fine. I don't really care. It's no big deal. But I do need to give a shout out to a number of my patrons. So, Karen Mize, my first everyman hero. James Sandman, my first patron, and Dark Warrior. Donald Justice, Dark Warrior, who is also, coincidentally, one of the characters in the most recent block of chapters in my book. That was one of the things he earned. And then the most recent addition to the group, Laura Sheely. She's also a Dark Warrior. And, generally speaking, just all of my patrons who are out there supporting me and, supporting the book that I'm writing. It really means a lot. All of the money that I'm getting from the Patreon is going into a separate account. I'm going to be using it to buy things like copy editors, cover designers. I'll probably end up buying someone to do a website design for me for my author page eventually, but that's a bit down the road. But yeah, huge shout out to everyone who's had faith in me and who has participated for as little or as much as they have chosen to do so. I'm very grateful, so thank you for that. Everyone who is here, or everyone who is not here, this lovely woman here in the corner, this is my mother. She has decided to come and be my enabler tonight on the very first weekday whiskey rant stream. This is this week's chosen whiskey is. Here I'll do a thing. It's Screwball. And honestly,
I like that Screwball.
I honestly not that much of a fan. Its reputation as one of the worst peanut butter whiskeys on the market is deserved. It's not that it's bad.
Okay.
Well, it's not that it's bad. I just want to be clear. It's not that it's bad. It's growing up, there were these little gas station candies that you would get. They were little round things in a plastic wrapper. They had a rose on the front. They were called De La Rosa Cacahuates. And they had this
God bless you.
mildly sweet kind of powdered peanut taste. And that's exactly what Screwball reminds me of. It reminds me of these cacahuate candies. So, I feel like I'm really loud. I'm going to lower myself.
I've tried the Screwball, and I didn't have a bottle. I'm not sure where I tried it. It could have been at your house. I don't know. And I didn't. Of course, the first one I tried was at Shepherd's Peanutty. So I got spoiled right away because it really is.
It's fantastic.
I think the best.
It really is very good.
And that Sheepdog is good too.
The Sheepdog is my chosen drink, but this was a gift for my recent 41st birthday from one of my patrons, Donald Justice. He's actually a regular at the restaurant that I go to, and he is one of the most supportive people that I've ever met in my life. An absolutely amazing man, him and his wife. I am just thrilled to know them. And despite my harsh words, Donald, thank you so much for your gift. This is fantastic. As you can see, I'm doing some damage. I'm going to do some more. And I'm kind of through my first glass almost already. So
now I'm going to disappear for a second because I'm going to go get this bottle. Did I send you? It's Scatterbrain.
You brought some Scatterbrain over. Yes, I've gotten some of those little bottles from you. Yes, but
this is peanut butter and jelly.
I think you sent me that one. I don't think I like that. I have not found any iteration of peanut butter and jelly that I've actually really liked. What I'm drinking now is Screwball, and it's Woodford Reserve's focus. I don't think it's... Oh, the autofocus isn't on, that's why. Hey, I'm going to turn the autofocus on. So it's Woodford Reserve's chocolate bitters. And it's just a couple of drops in there. Just give it a little bit of a chocolaty goodness. There, will that do it? Hey, there, it worked. And this thing, I've had this forever. It's lasted me so long, and I still have a third of the bottle left. I put a couple drops in every single one that I have, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
You brought a bottle of the Scatterbrained and Cream. I think it's.
Oh, right.
And
That's what it was.
that stuff is phenomenal.
This isn't bad, this peanut butter and jelly, raspberry jelly scatterbrain. But it's still not as good as the Shepherd's Peanutty. But this is the first I've tried it.
Oh, are you drinking some too? Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So
I tried that PB&J.
I guess I should, yeah.
Yeah, that's strong.
That's why I drink it on ice.
Yeah, I need to go get me a glass.
So, the reason why I'm doing a Drunken Rant stream.
Tell us.
Well, first of all, it's fun. Alcohol is...
Absolutely.
One thing I've learned from drinking is that I'm actually a much better writer about 2 or 3 drinks in. Now, granted...
Really?
Oh, yes. But it's not like... Not strong whiskey. If I go to my whiskey collection, the ones that I have that are 100, 115, 120 proof or higher... Now, a couple of drinks in and that, I'm freaking useless. I'm absolutely useless. I just kind of... at the screen trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and I end up scrolling through Facebook for hours, basically. But this is good. It's peanut butter whiskey's only roughly 70-ish proof, so I can have a couple of glasses of this and I can get loose. And I tend to write a little bit better because I don't doubt myself as much. I don't question everything that I'm writing as much. I just get it out there. But the reason why I want to have a rant stream, I read a lot of different things. Like, if I get curious about something, I jump on Google and I just go right down the freaking rabbit hole. And what I've noticed over the years is that as I have attained these random little bits of disconnected knowledge, I'll be in a conversation with someone, and two different bits of knowledge will just kind of sum it up in my brain and connect. And they do so in a way that produces new knowledge that I didn't know that I knew. If that makes any sense.
It actually does.
So what I found is that the more I've learned, the older I get, the more I speak about things, random crap that I've learned, the more weird connections I'm able to make that make a lot of sense. But the issue is you don't ever really know what you know until you start speaking about it. So my roommate is my wife's brother, and he is going to college right now. And he's attempting to basically take a full-time workload on, and he's struggling to kind of, I won't say he's struggling, he's working hard, and it's work.
Sure.
But sometimes he needs to talk about it. And I tell him, I say, look, the more you want to talk about it, talk about it. I'll talk to you about it. It's no problem. We'll work our way through it. You don't even know if you've learned it until you try and speak it. I mean, you can study for hours, but until you try and tell someone what you know, it doesn't actually make much of a connection in your brain.
Yep.
And the studies have found this. Studies have found that if you want to make sure that a piece of information is solidified in your mind, you have to talk about it. Otherwise, it's just air.
Yeah, right.
So, I don't have a lot of people that I can talk to about serious topics with. Talk.
You can talk about serious things?
No, I can't. And that's the issue.
Okay.
Look, I love my wife, but she deals with children all day. When she gets home, she doesn't want to have an intellectual conversation with me. That's like the last thing on her mind. I start talking about high-level intellectual crap, and she looks at me like she's about to divorce me.
I get it.
And then most of my friends that I grew up with, they've got lives, they've got children, they've got things going on. They don't want to have hard-thinking discussions with me on their off time. Completely understand. It's fine with me.
Yeah, but Brandon, most people don't see that from you. That's not the persona that you give off. People don't expect that from you.
Well, and that's because I don't have the opportunity to. Like, I can't do it at work.
Right.
I mean, I'm a bartender. I mean, if I start talking to, like, people that are coming in to drink and have a relaxing time about the political nature of, the different parties or whatever, they're never gonna come back. And
Probably not.
I wouldn't blame them. It's fine.
Right.
So, I got to thinking, and I'm like, what would be really neat was to put myself out there on the internet talking about some really sensitive topics with large amounts of liquor in my system and see where that gets me.
See how fast you can get arrested and banned.
Oh, yeah.
The FCC comes knocking at your door.
Yep.
That'll be fun.
So, your job is to keep me on topic or just keep me talking and to remind me to drink. So just remind me to drink. Not to mention the fact that... What's up?
We should be playing a drinking game.
God, no, I'm trying to rant. I can't drink and rant at the same time. Besides, you'll be like, every time you say the word vamoose, you have to take a shot, and then suddenly I'm going to be using the word vamoose all the time unconsciously, and no one's going to know what the hell I'm talking about.
And then that's going to carry over into your regular life.
Real life. Yeah, it's like, Brandon, why do you keep using the word vamoose? I'm like, I don't know.
And can you spell that?
I can. It's, but I'm not gonna.
Okay. Well, okay then.
I see there are a couple people out there on the stream watching. Hello to you. Say hi if you think about it. If you don't think about it, say hi anyways.
Now, as I am watching through the link on Patreon, can I see if anybody types a question or says anything?
Well, I don't know. I
guess we'll find out.
The thing about it is I don't know how well. Well, here, I'm going to type something. This is a test. I'm just going to put this on the comment. And I don't know if that pops up as soon as I do it, or if it takes a while, or if you have to refresh. I don't know. It'll say in the comment section below the video. God, it looks like you're in heaven right now. At least it looks like you're standing on a freaking backdrop of like infinite light.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my halo.
That was kind of neat, actually. Wish I could pull that off. I tried to use my green screen, but I couldn't get my green screen to work without some serious manipulation of the office here. I was going to put myself as a floating head in the middle of the forest, but I couldn't make it happen.
I sure like those horns.
My goat horns?
Now, are the ears with the horns?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Those are just really cute.
Remnants of my Twitch days.
Yes, I remember.
I do miss playing video games for people online.
That was kind of fun.
I don't know how people freaking play games and say things interesting at the same time. Like, I'm too busy, like, trying to win in order to say something funny.
Well, you're just funny in general when you're playing a game. Like, you'll talk to the people that you're fighting, or you'll scream when something happens that's maybe scary or funny or whatever. And you're just funny in general when you're playing, regardless of whether or not, and you're probably trying a little, but...
You're my mother. Yeah, you have to say that.
Well, maybe that's true. I don't know. I can't divorce myself from that, so I can't say.
This is the major problem of you being the main tester of all of my book chapters. It's like, you're just my mother and you love me and you're going to be nice, and as useful as that is, it's... Yeah, I'm just gonna...
Yeah, well.
It's fine. I love you, and I appreciate you, so yes.
Well, I'm sure enjoying the book.
We're getting there. We're halfway through. We're halfway through.
Well, true, but what's the word? Not frustrated, I'm impatient. That's what it is. Because, I start a book, and this is why I had to stop reading and start listening. Because when I start a book, I want to finish it. And it doesn't matter if it's 300 pages or 3,000. I want to finish it, and I will do nothing else.
Yes, I'm that way as well. So yeah, I can see how reading on the Patreon could be frustrating.
Yeah, 2 chapters a week is it just makes me realize how terribly impatient I am.
Well, I'm hoping now that we've made it to where we are, I'm hoping that I can start pumping out at least 3 chapters a week now.
Oh, fun.
I've already gone into the newest chapter that I'm writing uses a large block of already written, like from my first draft.
Right.
So moving forward, everything should move a little bit quicker.
Okay.
Virtual Luminatic. Virtual Luminatic. Thank you for your comment. I appreciate you. See, everything is working. I can set up a live stream. I know how to do things. Virtual Illuminatic, I hope you're out there drinking with me. If you're not old enough, then
Oh, I can see that.
hope you're not. But thank you for coming by. Appreciate you. So, what was I talking about earlier? What was I saying? So I went to Cabo recently. We talked about this. I went to Cabo recently. And Cabo is a gorgeous city in the touristy areas.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
that's how most of Mexico is.
Absolutely beautiful. You get outside the touristy areas, things are falling apart. They have this thing in Cabo where if you don't finish building your house, you never have to pay property taxes on it.
Oh, I can see how that would work.
So,
oops, I've got to get this window put in, and it's been out for 7 years.
No. So what they do is they leave exposed rebar at the tops of their house to make it look like they're still adding to it, and then they keep telling them, oh, nope, still building on it, so it's not done yet. And they never, 40 years, they'll never pay property taxes.
Nice.
So you just have all of these houses everywhere that are just rebar sticking up all over the place. It looks like a scene out of The Walking Dead, and you're just like, it looks like a town that's half built until you get into the touristy areas. And then you have like 4 types of businesses. You have food in one form or another, coffee shops, which I don't really count the same thing, pharmacies, which there are more pharmacies than anyone in the world would ever have anything to do with. And then they have, what was I going to say? The alcohol's getting to me. Souvenir shops.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And then occasionally they'll have the smattering of something weird like a liquor store or something like that. But a lot of standalone tequila shops. But the point that I'm trying to make, in Cabo, we never saw a cop. We're driving around this city. There was not a single police officer anywhere. And and where we live, I mean, you go out for a 10-minute drive, you'll probably pass 10, 12, 15 cops just, doing whatever they're doing, pulling people over, driving around. Cabo, nothing. Anywhere. We got to talking to some of the people that were driving us around, and they drive like freaking banshees. Like, they've got somewhere to be, and they don't care who is in their way. They're going to get around and get there.
Right.
But we didn't see one car wreck the entire time we were there.
Wow.
There was no fender benders, nothing. People just drove and they got there. And that got me thinking. We were asking them about the cops. It says, yeah, as long as you're not running people off the road or running over pedestrians or something like that, the police don't give a shit. You can speed, you can whip in and out of traffic. They don't care unless you're doing something that's actually hurting people. So what ends up happening is everyone over there either learns how to drive or they stay off the road.
Well, yeah.
So you
have to.
Exactly, you have to. I need more whiskey.
You don't want to get killed.
Well, the point that I'm trying to make here is, then you come back and you look at the states.
Oh, God.
And we have all of these laws and police everywhere watching out, and they'll pull you over for piddly crap. I mean, I've seen police videos where you're going 1 mile over the speed limit, license and registration, or you were following too closely, or it's just stupid crap. But then, nobody knows how to drive. Nobody. Like, the biggest thing that pisses me off in this world is trying to go from here to work.
But in America, we don't teach our kids, our next generation, we don't teach them to do anything. If they don't learn it in school, on television, or from someone else, they're not going to learn it.
Well, they don't have to either. It's not necessarily that we don't teach them. They're not in a situation where they have to learn. See, in Cabo, either you learn how to be a good defensive and offensive driver,
or you die.
Die. And, hey, back to my man-eating tigers argument.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
But in America, there's so many protections that are put into place because the government doesn't trust us to be able to figure things out for ourselves, and we don't trust each other to be able to do it either, that no one ever has to really learn to be good at driving. So then you just get scores of bad drivers.
Yeah. And that's what we have, scores of bad drivers.
But
I totally agree.
it's like that for a lot of things. You know, you get different political groups in the country. I'm not going to name names, but
You won't have to.
they want the government to protect them. And I
Okay, but wait.
okay,
Define protect. Define protect.
they want laws in place to protect them.
Protect them from who?
Other people that don't necessarily agree with them.
I disagree. I think they want to be protected from themselves. Because, for instance, do you know that if you buy an iron to iron your clothes, it is a law that that iron has a tag on it that says, do not iron your clothes while you're wearing them. Now, who am I going to hurt doing that other than me?
No, I disagree. I disagree. I think it's a good example of the result of white knighting.
White knighting. What's that?
White knighting is where, and it's used often as a racial thing too, but I'm not using it from that. It's more of the idea of I am going to come save you because you're incapable of saving yourself.
That's what our whole country is based on.
Well, so what ends up happening is someone goes and, you know, maybe someone's kid uses an iron to iron their clothes or whatever on them, and then the parents go nuts and they decide to put this law into place so that no one is hurt. They're white knighting for the problem. It's not a problem they have, but in some way, it's been a problem that's been connected to them so that they are going to white knight and make sure that no one else is ever hurt from this terrible thing.
Okay, I can agree with that.
But there's this just lack of responsibility that people take. And that is what, in some ways, is creating weakness. I'm trying to be diplomatic here, folks. I'm trying. It's alcohol.
Weakness and incapabilities and yeah.
By the way,
people that just can't do things.
Anyone who's out there listening, if you want to chime in, feel free to type something. I'm happy to respond. Arguing, discussing, whatever. Hey, I don't care. As long as we're talking, it doesn't really matter. The problem in this country is a lot of the times we don't talk anymore. We don't have the bravery to sit down and say, hey, here's what I think, because we're afraid of being canceled or being cut off or whatnot.
Well, too many people don't know how to discuss differing opinions. I mean, we can discuss differing opinions without actually arguing.
Can we?
But we can. I mean, most people cannot. You and I can.
Sure.
But many people can't. If you don't agree with me, then I can't talk to you.
Well, but even you and I have gotten into heated discussions at times.
Well, we have argued.
Welcome in, Daniel.
We used to be wrong, but hey, you used to be wrong most of the time.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Well, it was, but yeah, the problem is you see so many people now saying, if you don't agree with me, then I'm not going to talk to you. And
why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't think they're teaching kids in school to think for themselves. And part of thinking for yourselves is learning other points of view. Because I have my point of view based on what I've learned and what I know. Okay, I have to be able to admit that there are things out there that I have not learned and I do not know. And how am I going to learn those things?
But what would cause a person to adhere to a specific idea in such a way that they are unwilling to hear things that might disagree with them?
You know, I don't know why people feel that way.
I mean,
I'd like to.
I have an idea.
Okay, tell me.
Well,
and I'll tell you if I agree.
There's only a few reasons why people would refuse to consider or even want to listen to a differing point of view. And the two main ones that I can think of off the top of my head is they have something to gain from their current point of view.
Sure.
Okay. Or they have ingrained their current point of view so much into their sense of identity that listening to or
considering
or looking at themselves in a way that might make them wrong is literally a threat to their existence.
Well, and two, and this might go with both of those. A lot of people, like for instance, I learned this from my parents. My parents taught me this. This is the way it's done. This is what's right. And if I question that, I'm questioning them, and that makes me disloyal.
Well, yes, but I think that's a red herring. I think what really they're saying in that situation is I have made this line of thinking so much a part of myself for so long that questioning it is questioning my entire life and whether I've been heading in the wrong direction. You know, it's one thing to leave the house and, like, take a wrong turn and fix it on the way to your destination. But it's another thing to leave the house, take a wrong turn, and drive that way for 2 hours before you realize you've gone the wrong way.
I've done that.
One of them's going to piss you off a whole lot more than the other.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
I do.
I think a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the reasons you hear for things are not the actual reasons.
Well, and your two reasons, you know, I haven't been drinking and I can't even remember. They have something to gain, or it's just so ingrained. Those are really pretty all-encompassing. Something to gain can be as simple as I'm too lazy to change. I don't
believe in laziness.
Want to put, well, okay. I don't want to put forth. I think there's a wild animal in my living room.
Virtual Illuminatic, that's it. Fear and pride. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Fear and pride.
I've got to go see what's eating my couch. Hang on just a second. Well, but I have headphones, so I can still.
Okay, hold that thought. I'm going to pour more whiskey. I need more ice. I am iceless, and I have to have ice for whiskey. So hold that thought.
Okay.
Luckily, it's not far. The better question is... No, not neat. This is peanut butter whiskey. I don't drink my peanut butter whiskey neat. I gotta have it nice and chilled. Now, if we're talking like a good Wyoming or... I don't know what I got over there. New Riff, my Wild Turkey, my Larceny Barrel Proof. Yeah, hell yeah, I'll drink that stuff neat. But I ain't drinking no peanut butter whiskey neat.
No, it's got to be cold and on ice.
It has to be. I don't know why. It just doesn't taste the same.
I keep my bottle in the fridge. Do you keep your bottle in the fridge?
I don't, but I mean, my fridge isn't that big, so.
Oh, well, I have two, so.
Well, and the bottle I'm drinking is, you know, kind of big, so.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I've been trying to kill this same bottle of Shepherd's for... I'm afraid to...
What's everybody else out there in the chat drinking? My little screwball with some chocolate bitters in it.
Anything. Oh, I forgot my chocolate bitters.
Gotta have the chocolate bitters. Oh, it's gotta cool down more.
Oh, that is just so good.
So the better question is how do you get people to want to wise up and like drinking Jefferson's? Heard of it? Oh yeah. Oh, so for those of you that don't actually know me, double aged on ships or some shit. I'm ashamed to say it sold me. No, you made a good choice, Daniel. Honestly, I am actually a bartender in the largest bourbon bar in Oklahoma, Trappers in Oklahoma City. So I have probably personally tried over 600, 700 different whiskeys. We have a collection right now of somewhere near 400, and I've had everything that comes through the door. If it comes in, pop the top, and I have a drink. Jefferson's is good, though. The Jefferson's Ocean is fantastic.
And that would be whiskey or bourbon?
It's probably bourbon. I think there's a Jefferson's Ocean that's a double-aged rye. Now, why?
Okay.
Why did that comment not show up over here?
Which comment?
Oh yeah, he's drinking the double-aged rye. Yep. The double-aged rye is pretty fantastic. Highly recommend it. But they are a pricey bottle.
Oh, really?
They're a little bit on the more expensive side, yeah. That's why I like peanut butter whiskey. Just to go back to what we were talking about earlier. First of all, it doesn't get me smashed when I'm writing. I've got to be able to get some in me without being smashed. And $20 a bottle, sure.
Right.
Good. Let's go. Yeah.
Really? Is that what you're paying?
I think what was it? I think the the sheepdog that I normally drink is roughly $20 a bottle. I would have had that.
Almost always get that for 15 here, but I'm in Phoenix, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm at a little mom and pop liquor store that's local to me. I like the guy; he's cool, so I go and support him. He keeps it specifically for me. I I very, very much love my local businesses. Someone was on
we need to get back to that.
On Facebook recently talking about why they don't go through publishers and why they publish indie and this and that. And first of all, I think most of them. Well, let's back up for a second. The publishing scene right now is a fucking shit show.
Really?
The market is so flooded with indie publishers and whatnot, and let's be honest, the age of the book is kind of in decline, that most publishers are not taking a lot of new submissions right now.
Okay.
So even if I had like an amazing book, or I was already a published author and I wanted to switch genres, probably not going to get a publishing deal. Like if I was a mystery writer and wanted to write a sci-fi novel, probably not going to get a publisher. It's just saturated right now. So,
but do books sell?
I mean, it depends. Like, if you look at, let's talk the elephant in the room, the 800-pound gorilla, Stephen King. Recent book.
Yeah.
Okay, so Stephen King's most recent book. I don't know.
What's wrong? Bananas.
Holly? I don't know. Let's just do sales. Look, so Stephen King has sold 350 million copies. 350 million copies.
Wow.
Worldwide. And also number of books. He's written at least 73. So on average, you can say that Stephen King has sold $500,000 worth of each book that he's written. If you assume that the price of his books are probably around $20 average, 500,000 divided by 20 is, I don't know. 500,000 divided by 20. Siri will tell me.
10 million.
25,000 copies. Wow. No, that doesn't make sense. There's no freaking way. Am I doing the math wrong? Are we asking me to do math while I'm up here drinking alcohol and I'm just totally screwing it up?
Maybe, but I'm no better ever.
350 million books. Hold on. 350 million divided by 73. Okay, so each book has 4.8 million copies sold. That seems like that makes a lot more sense. Wow, how did I come up with that number?
Yeah, that does better.
Okay, so we'll average
with screwball whiskey.
$20. 4.7 million times 20.
That's 100 million. Ish.
Wow, that's crazy. That's how much money has. I don't know, math. Listen, I'm drinking alcohol and you're asking me to do math. Either way, he sold a lot of freaking books. But like, here's the.
Well, he has.
Here's the thing.
And they're all weird.
What is the next natural step for authors? You think books are definitely dropping in popularity. Kindle is there, but less and less people reading, no matter ebook or physical copies. I think most people are going to naturally go to audiobooks eventually. But The problem with audiobooks is it doesn't appeal to specific, to certain types of learning. Like, some people can't hear a book spoken to them and get anything from it. It doesn't matter if they're focusing on it or not. It's just not their learning type.
Yep. Visual learners won't get it.
They just won't get it. They'll have to sit and read it. And I'm kind of that way. Like, I could do an audiobook, but I just don't get as much from it. You'd have to go to extraordinary lengths. I mean, you're talking voice actors, like sound effects in the background. You're basically going to have to turn an audiobook into a spoken movie in order for me, personally, to be able to get the same level of entertainment from it.
Huh. See, and I can't listen to a book I won't get anything from a book like that. I'm too distracted by all that extraneous stuff. I don't work. How strange is that?
I mean, it's not strange. It's to each their own. It's the way you're designed. I don't know that
Yes.
books are ever going to go away. The problem that we're running into right now is not that necessarily that books themselves are in decline. The problem that we're running into right now is that there are so many independently published authors that are not worth the paper that they are printing their stories on. Audiobooks not a huge
Absolutely.
Others are. I suppose books will never fall completely off, but I think they're just making a living from them. We're heading out. So I can't remember the name of this phenomenon. It's talked a lot about. Jordan Peterson talks about it a lot, but it's the theory that 10% of a very specific group will do 90% of the work, or something like that. So if you look at all of the authors on the market, only 10% of those authors are doing 90% of the sales.
I believe that.
It all comes down to, I'll use the word clout. So once you've written a book, okay, first of all, let's talk about traditional publishing. Just to get traditionally published, you have to have someone who is a professional in the market read it and say, this is worth our time. That's step one. Just getting over that hump is freaking massive. Not only are you dealing with people, some people will just pick things up and read the first paragraph and say, nope, this isn't for me, we're not going to do it. They'll look at the genre that you're submitting and they'll say, nope, this isn't working, I don't want this, it's not going to be part of what it doesn't fit our vision for the company. I mean, sometimes you'll get rejected 100 times before you'll find someone that says, hey, this is something that we want to do. That's step one. Then you actually have to get people to buy it and enjoy it. And that's step two. And step one is insurmountable enough as it is. Being successful in step two is massive. But what helps you is if you've had one that's already been successful. So if you're Stephen King, and I hate to use this guy over and over again, but he's a great example. If you're Stephen King and you write a book and it's big, it's successful, people like it, you get the word out there, when you release a new book, people are already going to say, oh, this guy is a good author. He's good enough to keep producing stuff. He's been successful in the past. It most likely means what he's putting out now is going to be worth my time. I'll go buy it. It breaks down defenses. The problem with new authors is they don't have any of that. They haven't made it past publishers. They haven't broke down the defenses. They haven't made any sales. And especially if you're an indie author, you're relying on word of mouth. You're relying on people who are most likely trying to do the same thing that you're doing, publish their own book, to buy your book and take the time to review it to show other people that it's worth their time. So, 90% of the people, or 90% of the sales that are going to the 10%. But if you can make it into that 10%, you're basically done.
Well, absolutely. And I'm just as guilty as the next person. You know, when I go to look for a book, I'm looking for specific authors. And I read mostly sci-fi fantasy. And Dan Brown. But I want to get a book from an author that I'm familiar with, and then I'll read everything they write.
Yes. And that's exactly how most people are.
You know, people like Dan Brown. Exactly. You get stuck with authors like Dan Brown and Andy Weir, who only do, you know, they're not the Stephen King caliber. They don't do 7 books a year. They only do one every 3 years.
Yeah.
And so I got a lot of downtime between their novels.
Well, and you don't take the time to pick up other books in between because you're not quite sure. Am I going to waste my money? Am I going to waste my time?
Well, I do. I've got I probably got 300 Audible books, and I've probably got 200 of those I haven't read. And I think I've got about 3,000 Kindle books, and 2,990 of them I haven't read. But I'll try, and sometimes I'll read a chapter, and I'm like, yeah, no, this is not going to happen. Because
exactly.
It's just so bad.
Yes. And that's been my experience.
That's one reason why that's why I was worried about your first chapter.
Yes, that's why I'm worried about my first chapter.
I got a bad feeling about it. It was like the rest of the book. If people read like me, they read that first chapter, they're like, yeah, I don't like this. I'm not going to go to the second chapter and find out that it is better. It's just that first chapter.
Right.
But the prologue was excellent that you decided not to put in it.
Oh, it's going to be in there. It's just going to be in a different spot. But yes, I agree with you. But what most people don't have is you. Like, most of these writers, especially these indie writers, they're up there and they're writing and they're putting out work, but they're doing it solely with themselves in mind. They don't have people out there that are going to read their work. You almost have your step 1 and 2 in reverse. You pretty much need to get noticed first, then traditional publishers might take notice. I mean, you're probably right. You're probably we'll call that step 0. You've got to get noticed, and then traditional publishers make notice. I mean, that's how. Who was it? Was it Stephanie Myers, or was it wrote the Twilight books, or was it J.K. Rowling that put out
J.K. Rowling?
She put out her book, and then traditional publishers picked it up.
I think it was Stephanie Meyer.
Was it? 50 Shades. Maybe it's 50 Shades. It may have been. Who knows? But I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, well, to go back to what we were just saying, it's so easy to publish a book now that the market is so swamped. No one knows what's good. And you're getting this. What is it? This where you have too many options that you just you freeze, you paralyze.
You're overloaded, yeah.
Yeah, and I can't remember what that's called, where you have so many options you just can't think of what to do. And I'm on a site called Royal Road. Royal Road is a community of authors and writers, and people can publish their stories and get followers and get seen. But most of the very popular stories that are on there are not something that I would read past the first page. Some of them are not something I would read past the first paragraph.
Why? What's wrong with them? Just...
Well, first of all, they're not polished. Most of the time people put stuff on there and they type it out and they publish it. They're trying to brute force their way into the algorithm so that they see, oh, this guy's putting out a lot of content. We need to show him at the top of the feed constantly. So there's no polish. In fact, I would be surprised if most of the stuff that's written on there gets a second pass through before it's published on the site, outside of the need to hunt down typos and grammatical errors. And sometimes not even that far. But
oh, wow.
There is a huge amount of very, very popular content on that site that bears no resemblance to any of the authors that I grew up reading, the very successful authors. Some of the people on there that are very successful are not what I would call good writers.
Okay.
But a large amount of people love them, and a large amount of people are reading them, and I think it's not because of how good they are at writing, it's because of the content of what they're writing.
How so? What kind of content?
They tend to put out a lot of, on that site it's what's considered lit RPG, Isekai. I don't know how it's pronounced. It's
Okay.
Isekie. It's a setting where a normal person is transported into a fantasy world. Either way, it's what people are looking for in the post. What was that anime that came out? Sword Art Online. Post Sword Art Online. That's what it was. Sword Art Online was an anime that was released that the story behind it is everyone was in a virtual reality world. They were actually in a full body virtual reality suit. And they got trapped in there by the creator. And if you died in the game, you died in the real world. You had to beat the game in order to get out and survive. And that anime literally just took over the world. And everything has kind of been... There have been a lot of imitators of that since then. In fact, I have a story that I want to write that's kind of in that same vein. I just don't have time.
Okay. What, and I remind you never read Ready Player One, correct?
I haven't read it. I saw the movie. It was decent enough. Like, I understand the concept.
Oh, God, the movie was awful. The book was really good.
Yeah, but everyone says that about every movie that gets, inspired by a book. I need to read the Stardust book that it was based on because I love that movie.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
That's
I
Neil Gaiman, I think. Neil Gaiman. I think. Is it Neil Gaiman?
Oh, that doesn't surprise me, and you're probably right. I think you're right.
He's one that's basically taking over the world. Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Was it him?
It was. My problem is I haven't read anything...
I need to get that and read it.
I haven't read anything serious except for... I think the last serious fantasy author that I read was Goodkind. And Goodkind pretty much went out of his way to piss off everybody.
How so?
He liked to claim that what he was writing wasn't fantasy or fiction, it was literature. He wrote literature. He's very full of himself.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, don't get me wrong. His books were good, but there was a lot of political overtones and just general bullshit in them that, like... I take some of my writing style from him, but that man could expound on some shit for so many pages. I just don't want to do that. I want to be able to say what I need to say and then move on.
Oh, sure.
Joe Abercrombie is good. The first Law trilogy had become pretty mainstream lately, but for good reason. The hell is Joe Abercrombie? Is that an author or is that a book?
I've never heard of that person.
I know Abercrombie, as the store, but...
I have no response to that.
I have no response for that. What is that from? Joe Abercrombie is an author.
Joe versus the volcano.
No name I have ever heard in existence screams yuppie scum like the name Joe Abercrombie.
I don't disagree.
Like, literally. It's like he chose his name. He's like, how can I sound pretentious and useless at the same time? I'd give his books a chance, though. What does he write? The first Law trilogy. I'm sorry, with a name like Joe Abercrombie, if he's writing fantasy or sci-fi, I ain't reading it. Fantasy, of course. The most pretentious, useless name in author history, and he writes fantasy. Of course, yes.
Of course he does.
Yeah, all of his...
Well, come on, tell me how much this is.
All of his freaking, protagonists are dressed in, surfer shorts and button-up short-sleeve shirts with wife beaters underneath.
Oh, of course. There's a reason why.
He says missing out. Okay, Daniel, I'm going to tell you what I've been doing. I joined an indie fantasy group on Facebook. And basically what they do is they go through and they extol the virtues of certain fantasy authors that are on the indie scene. I asked them, I said, give me a list of books that are indie that are not traditionally published. I want to read it, and I bought one, and I'm reading that. It's been very good so far. What was the name of the book that I'm reading? Again, this goes back to my argument earlier. I like to buy local. I like to support people who are not backed by traditional, mainstream, established businesses who are going to take most of their money. Where's my Kindle app? There it is. I am reading Faithless by Graham Austin King. And it's pretty good.
Okay.
It's different. It's pretty good. But I will do that. From now on, probably, I'm going to buy indie authors and I'm going to read their stuff.
Okay.
Well, these
I
freaking...
just ordered Stardust.
Did you?
I got the Audible.
You have to let me know how it is.
I'm gonna start listening to it tomorrow. It never occurred to me I should do that because I do love that movie.
Is Joe Abercrombie like a mainstream published author? Daniel, the reason I ask,
I've never heard of him.
If I have the option, I'm gonna go with someone who doesn't need my help to make it. Like, Stephen King doesn't need my help to make it. He's already made it. I might read some of his older works just for... I mean, I've read the entire Dark Tower trilogy. I've probably read 7 or 8 of his other books. They're great to learn from, but, like, dude makes enough money. What, 500 million copies sold. He doesn't need my help anymore. Abercrombie doesn't need any help. Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find indie authors to spend my money on. First of all, they tend to be cheaper. Second of all, they tend to be a little bit more outside the box. Third of all, they need my help. If my sale is going to put money in somebody else's pocket that needs it, I'm in. Let's go. Let's do it.
I think, crap, I've forgotten his name. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. Anyway, he wrote the Thomas Prescott series, and it's a story that's kind of linear. You know, it doesn't have a lot of side stories going on. This chapter is going to go into this same character in the next chapter and things like that, and there's not a lot of side stories going on. And those tend to not be your big authors that do that. You know, it's people like J.K. Rowling, who has a lot of characters going on, and
George R. R. Martin.
George R. R. Martin, which is to the nth degree. But this Thomas Prescott series, and I don't normally read things about police, but this guy used to be police. He's a PI now, and he does really weird things. But I really enjoyed reading his stuff, but I don't think, Nick Perrogue, that's the author's name.
Okay.
I don't think he's real mainstream because he himself markets a lot of his books. I get emails from him weekly.
Yeah.
And he's also pushing other people's books that are probably one step above what you're calling these indie authors. They may have had some success with their self-published stuff, but they're still working on, you know, trying to get out there and be like, you know, Andy Weir and Stephen King.
Well, here's the thing. As an indie author, if you write a book, so my book is going to be somewhere between 160 to 180,000 words when it's done. That's going to be a big book. I mean, if you do the math here, let's math this. Shut up, phone. Okay, where's my calculator? So paperback is 275 words on average per page. So 170,000 words. 275. On average, my book, when it's done, is going to be 618 pages.
Holy fuck, in a paperback, really?
It's going to be a big book.
Yeah, that's going to be thick.
But I think it's going to be fine because it's not going to be one of those reads that, like, you struggle through, because a lot of these authors, and especially me, when I wrote my first draft, like, there was 7,000, 8,000 words per chapter, if you remember.
Yeah.
But most of my chapters now are on average 2,000 to 2,500 words. They're short, they're quick, they're easy to read. So I don't think it's going to feel tedious.
That makes it flow. It makes you feel like you're making progress. Okay, so I have 500 chapters, but I've read 18 today in the last 15 minutes.
Sure.
And that gives you a sense of accomplishment.
Daniel, yes, this is going to be the first book in a series of 6, which I pretty
Oh,
much.
it's 6.
Well, my book will be,
I
yes.
I thought it was 3.
No, it's
My
going to be
bad.
6 books. Yeah, I've got it pretty much planned out, so I'm not really too worried about it. I know what each book is about and what the general gist of each one it is and what the sequence of events are, so yes. It's going to be a big book, but
Oh yeah.
I kind of feel like most indie authored books, their books are fairly short, 60 to 70,000 words. If what I'm seeing out there is generally about that long. So most of them are charging about $5-6 a book. I'm probably going to charge the full $9.99 or whatever on Kindle. So
Yeah, but for a book that big, I don't feel like I'm getting ripped off for that.
that's my point. It's going to be a big book, so it's going to be a bigger price. Makes sense. I'll probably spend the first month or two with a 25% discount or something like that just to get things going, but I don't know. We'll see. So in Kindle, if you do under $10 for the book, you make 70% profit. So if I charge $10 roughly for the book, I make $7 personally.
Well, that's not bad.
Well, if I want to make a decent living, living where I am, I really only need to sell about 10,000 books a year. 20,000 with discounts, and I'll be healthy. I'll be fine. That's nothing.
Yeah,
I will have,
as long as you get a following.
So the goal is to put it on Kindle with a EPUB price and a physical copy price. Absolutely, Daniel. Tentative release date. I would love to get this out and done by the end of summer. That being said, I say I'm halfway through the book. I'm roughly 2/3 of the way through the book, actually. I'm still going to have to pay for a copy editor. I'm going to have to get a cover editor done. Cover designer done. But yeah, my goal is to have a book release party hopefully by the end of summer, somewhere maybe early to mid-August is what I'm shooting for. I have a good amount of patrons on my Patreon. That should cover most of the costs. Hopefully, I would love to get a couple more, but I'm happy with what little I have so far. I just have to finish this round of edits, and then I'll go through one more round of edits with some readers. Nah, I'll be talking about it a lot. I appreciate you, Daniel. Daniel, what are you? Are you the Severance trilogy? Is that who you are on Facebook? Severance, right? I think that's right. I remember somebody had said, "Ha! I am such a good guesser." Thank you. I appreciate you coming and showing up and being talkative. I need that, especially the more alcohol I drink. No, I'm getting into that territory with my book where what I have written is sufficient enough with very little editing. There are going to be a number of you didn't tell me what you were drinking. Oh, you were drinking the Jeffersons. That's right. You did say. I lied. See? Alcohol. Don't trust me. I'm getting to that point where my writing has gotten good enough in the first draft where I can copy and paste a lot. So before I got on my stream today, I'll tell you. I basically copy and pasted. Nope, that's the wrong chapter. Roughly 800 words with very little adjustment other than changing the tense from past to present.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So I should be able to sit down tomorrow before I have to go to work and finish out the chapter. And then from there, I can start working on chapter 49. I don't know how many chapters I'm going to be into this, but there's going to be a lot in this book. Let me ask you this. So, you notice I have a name for each chapter.
I like that.
Okay, you do like that. Okay, good.
I do.
No,
But I don't know how a lot of people feel.
Daniel, I don't know if it's nearby. Let me see if I can show it to you. I don't think I have it in here. I actually wrote this book from start to finish. No, it's not in here. About 12 years ago. I got it printed out, bound. Actually, this wonderful young woman here on my stream here printed out and had it bound for me, and I sent it out to 6 of my friends to read.
How many of them read it?
All 6 of them read my story. They read it.
Oh, good.
But every single one of them took 2 months to read the first 6 chapters, and then they took 2 days to read the next 30.
Wow.
Every single one of them.
That actually said something about the writing, I think.
Oh no, definitely. I think I got better. I mean, this was the first novel that I was trying to write, but obviously, as I got further into the story, I got better at writing. And I think moving into where I am now in the story, the writing is good enough that I don't have to mess with it too much. I just have to divide it up properly and adjust it for the direction that I'm trying to go in.
Okay.
Now, granted, I think I've turned roughly 40, maybe 30,000 words in the rewrite into about 95,000.
Wow. Why do you think that is? Have you added to the story, or has the descriptiveness, if that's a word, of your writing gotten better?
You know, it's. I don't think the Okay, yes, I've gotten better just overall. We'll go with that. I'm definitely much better at painting a picture, but most of the chapters, painting the picture isn't really the big part of the chapter. It's dialogue and describing what's going on in people's heads and that sort of thing. But I think what I've gotten better at is, I say better, I think what I've gotten more involved with, we'll say that, is the complexity of the story itself. I'm trying to write a story about a boy who goes from being a victim in the beginning to being responsible for his position in the events that have unfolded. At the beginning, he has no part in what's going on. He is just the victim of what's happening. But as the story progresses, he takes responsibility for the part he's played and learns how his actions and his decisions have impacted the events that have unfolded around him and led him to where he is. There we go.
Okay.
But that necessarily required more words, because I had to have my characters interact in a way to reveal the story as it went. Why do you keep making that face? It's very distracting.
There's something, it sounds like an operatic ghost. I think it's a tone you can get on your phone.
Sure.
It's going, but it's somewhere in the house, and I don't know what it is.
Do that sound one more time.
No.
I missed it, I think.
No.
Oh.
No,
I think
Laura,
my phone cut out.
No, I'm not going to do it. Good try, though.
Yeah, Daniel, if you're willing to be a beta reader, I'm happy to let you. Absolutely. I need about 5 people I think would be the best bet. As my mother here illustrated earlier, she's getting 2 chapters a week because that's what I release on my Patreon. And it's very hard when you're only getting 2 chapters a week to really relate each chapter back to the last, because you don't have the ability to view entire scenes at one time. I'm a binge watcher. I want to watch everything at once. And that makes perfect sense. There's been multiple, I would say scenes that unfold across a period, a group of rather say 6 to 8 chapters, that unless you have them all at once, you're never going to remember how they connect to one another. But I will say, Daniel, I released this book. I wrote this book about 12 years ago, bound it, sent it out there. Everyone read it. They liked it. I got it back to do edits, and I read the first 5 chapters and God, I'm terrible. This is awful. And then I just pushed the book aside and just... Oh,
so that's why you wanted to rewrite the beginning.
Oh, it's awful. Well, not to mention...
I didn't think it was awful.
It's awful.
I will agree. Okay. I know I'm biased and my opinion doesn't count. And I get that. But I do think it's good. It's better now than it was.
Yeah, that is a problem, Daniel. But past chapter 7, it got better. Unfortunately, I'm not even using the chapter 7 from the original draft in this book. I'm saving it to a later book. But yes, not only was it bad and it needed to be rewritten, but the actual story I was telling changed. You know, there are, no, I mean, there are people that go out and they outline their book, and it's very important in a large book like this, and I didn't realize how important, to outline your book so that you can know the beginning, middle, and end all line up properly and tell the story that you want to tell.
Sure.
I kind of knew where I was going with things, but like as I got into the book, I realized I'm like, there are other things that I want to do that I haven't done, and I need to change things to make it happen. For instance, in the original book, in the original draft, Nevin, my main character, he was the son of two very healthy adults. I don't know if you remember that. They were good parents, Frida and Dalen, good parents. And they sent him on his journey. But about halfway through my rough draft, I realized I need him to have a little bit more questionable past. So I decided that his dad was going to be abusive and his mother was dead. And it actually makes a lot more sense for the story. But I hadn't written that, so I had to go back and rewrite it.
Okay.
But now, I still need to redo the opening.
Yeah, we've got to rewrite that first paragraph.
It's going to be about the first 6 or so, roughly. But I got plans. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
I got it figured. And it's going to fit with the rest of the story a lot better. I don't like the dream sequence nearly as much. I don't want to open with the dream sequence. But I think once I think that's the main reason why my story hasn't done as well as it could have on Royal Road.
Because of that first chapter?
Well, I mean, I can actually look. Hey, holy crap. I don't know how this is happening. But I started this stream with less than 3,000 total views, and now I'm over 3,000. So people are reading it. I think people are making it past the opening. Finally, they're seeing how the later chapters are really good, and they're using that to make it past the opening. But I've got over 3,000 views, 64 average views, so doing pretty freaking good.
You've got some really good reviews.
I have.
You've gotten some really good reviews. I have to go hunt another pair of glasses down.
Hunt away. Daniel, how many books do you have in your series? And how do you feel about them? Are you very happy with what you're putting out? Are you? Have they been fairly successful? Let's look you up. The Severance Trilogy.
What, keep Professor Brun, baby.
Hey, there you are.
What does he write? Is it fantasy?
Kind of looks like fantasy. Ellie the Innocent.
Maybe I'll read them.
Sate her keeper, Malignant the... Okay, that's a word. What the heck is Essurant? The Blades of Night, a militia formed to keep the Malignant at bay. Fight the creatures every night to keep them from the barrier.
Oh, that's better.
Dwindling numbers, and then... I gotta tell them guess what they want. Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks like fantasy. 99 cents on Kindle. I like what I have, but when the third is near ready, I'm going to pull the 2 down, re-edit them, and release this reprint. That makes sense.
What's the name of one of his books on Kindle?
It looks like... I'm assuming Blades of Night is the first one. Hungry, ravenous, never satisfied. That's a new word for me. I'll learn that. Yeah, it looks like Blades of Night and the Shadows of Malignant. Yeah, there it is. Book 1 of 2, the Severance Trilogy. I like it.
The Severance trilogy, okay. It's not what I want.
Ooh, I like your author pick. That's a great shirt you're wearing. Damn it, I want to see that shirt. That's the most important part of this. Firefighter, paramedic. Hey, I appreciate your service, sir. That is amazing. USMC veteran. Thank you so much for what you do. I live in Texas with my wife, 2 dogs and 3 cats. Written Blades of Night. Currently working on a 3rd book of the trilogy. Yep. That shirt is absolutely amazing, sir.
What? Give me his name, Brendan.
Daniel, I'm going to say, I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Is it Wiebe? W-I-E-B-E? Who'd you get to do your cover art? Weeby. Okay, so Weeby.
Weeby, okay. And which one was the first one?
Blades of the Night.
I, of course, chose the wrong one. Are they on Audible?
You asking questions. Dig Through My Eel is a person I found through a Facebook group. Oh, okay. They did a great job. I really like the design. The font of whatever letters you're using are fantastic. No Audible. Sorry. Listen, Daniel, I'm going to need you to get on that. I'm going to need you to sit in your room with a microphone for like the next 43 hours and read your book to me. I can't say that. I'm like 15 chapters behind on my own Audible recordings, and I have a dedicated recording studio in my office.
I can't make his picture bigger. I can't see his shirt.
I know. I wanted to make
Hawaiian
it.
Shirt.
It is. It's very Hawaiian. I wanted to make it bigger too, but I couldn't make it bigger.
And
he says he'll get on that right away.
Doing.
How?
Ask him how he's doing with his Audible book.
I think he can. He can probably hear you. You could ask him yourself.
Okay, how are you doing, Daniel, with your Kindle? Are you getting much traction?
Pocket expert, welcome to the party. What's up?
Oh, that must be Laura.
Probably. It looks like book 1 is ranked. Nope. Am I looking at the right one? Blades of Night. It's ranked 1,800,885-ish in Kindle Store. Audible book has not gotten off the ground.
Audible's hard because you really need someone with a decent voice, and I've thought many times about volunteering to read these for you, but I don't have the voice for it. Nobody wants to hear my voice. It's just like that, what's his name, Kevin Hart. I love Kevin Hart, but I listen to his book, and I don't mind his voice, but listening to his book just irritated the shit out of me.
It's funny how that works, yeah.
Yeah, you've got to have the right voice, and mine's not the right voice. Now, you sound good when you read it, but it's not like you don't have 10,000 other things to do.
Well,
I don't.
Here's the thing, and I'm gonna maybe Daniel can take something from this too. I have Audacity, and I have a really good quality mic in this Shure mic. It was donated to me from a friend of mine.
But you also have a good tone in your voice, and that
Shut
makes
up, Daniel.
Huge difference.
Jerk. He says I have a face for radio. Ass.
Okay.
Daniel's drinking with me at least.
Okay, good.
So, I have this. I have it set up. I've actually learned how to set my mic up and my system up. I've got I'm going to show you. I'm going to pick this up, and it's going to make everyone seasick for a second. But I don't know if you can see this. I have a good amount of my office, what do you call that? Audio, they've got the damn audio tiles on it. Damn it, I've been drinking. Shut up. And then I have this thing which you can't see, but it's okay. Hold on, I have to use hand signals.
That's a really shitty picture.
Listen, shut up. So it's a baffle, and it goes around my mic. It wraps around it, and it has built-in acoustic tiles. So I can sit in the corner over there, and there's a stool, and record into the mic, and it pretty much prevents all of the audio that's around me. So anyways, I have Audacity, and I record one chapter at a time. And I need you to understand, it's not an easy process. Like, I'll sit in that chair, and I've got my phone in my hand, and I'm reading it from the Patreon. And sometimes I'll get to a sentence that I have to read like 8 times before it sounds like it's supposed to. Well, I'll just get to a word and I'll stumble. Like, you never know when you're going to get to a collection of words that your brain just doesn't want to brain. Like, you're like, all over this sentence.
So, are you saying that when you do these audio recordings, you don't just read it straight through?
Oh, no. No.
Oh my God, it sounds like you do.
Well, that's because I trim it. So, in Audacity, you can go through. So, if I'm reading a sentence and I mess up, I will pause after the mess up, and I'll start the sentence over. Then, when I'm done with the whole recording, I'll go back through and I'll listen to it, and I'll sit there and I will trim out the parts that weren't read right, so that you guys don't notice. But yeah, each chapter is roughly 15 minutes of actual recording, plus another 20 minutes of editing.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's because they're short chapters. If they were long chapters, it would suck even more. Yeah. And I'm not even actually any good at Audacity. I would love to be able to get into the effects and like really mess with stuff, because there's certain portions of a fantasy book that would be really awesome to be able to do, like reverb or echo or like deepen the voice or something, you know? And honestly, it's not for me either, Daniel. It's not for me either. I'm on chapter, let's see, the newest chapter that I've released on my Patreon is chapter, will you freaking load? Is chapter 46. Let's see what the last recorded chapter was. Will you load? My God. Okay, 42 no, 41 no, 40 no, 39 no, 38, 37, 36, 35. Chapter 35 was the last time I recorded audio.
You've got a lot to record.
I do, and it's fine. Like, I promised people that I would do it, and I'm gonna do it. I want to make it through this section. I'm about 2, maybe 3 chapters away from finishing what I call the second cycle. And once I do, I'm going to go back and re-record everything.
Okay.
It's gonna
You should take a week off.
I'm gonna have to.
Right, and just record the chapters.
I'm gonna have to. I don't know. Did you read my latest rant post where I was like, here's all the crap that I have to do with my life before I can actually like.
Yes, I did. It was a good chapter. That was a good rant.
I have so like
tickled by it.
Being an indie author is freaking exhausting, Daniel. I understand your problems because it's so exhausting. I mean, self-marketing is not an easy thing, first of all. But then, but I want to develop an author page, but in order to do so, I'm going to pay somebody to do it because I'm not interested in figuring it out for myself. I've got too much shit going on in my life already. I'm married. I don't have freaking time to, like, do a whole bunch of bullshit. Like, I got to focus on my wife. She just got home, and she's probably in there angry with me that I haven't come and said hi and given her a kiss already. Like, damn it.
Take another drink, Brandon.
I'm going to take another drink. But making an author page on, like, the internet so people can find me, keeping up and designing my Patreon, recording, writing, working a full-time job, researching how to do, like, an actual Kindle release, formatting my book for that. It's so much hard work.
It's a lot of work.
Well, I
And,
understand.
and believe me, I do it for our business. Because we have to do the same thing for our business.
I understand now why publishing takes so much of your money.
Yeah.
All of us indie authors, none of us are alone in this shit show. Did you buy his book, or are you going to?
Who hit Daniel?
Yeah.
I'll get the first one. I mean, I don't read a lot. I don't sit down and actually read, but I will get the first one to try it out because he showed up today. So I'll go ahead and buy the first one and I'll try to get it read. Did you see how many pages it was?
A lot.
Oh,
305
okay.
pages. It's not super long, actually.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's
that's
half.
not, I can deal with that.
Half the length of what I expect mine to be.
Yeah, I'll buy his Kindle. I'll buy his first Kindle, and I'll read it, and then I'll review it.
It's all good, Daniel. Hey, we're good people.
Well, I know how hard it is, and you've got to get people to review it.
Yes.
And I'm not, excessively verbose. I don't say a lot, but I'll try to give it a good review for what I really think. But I'm a big Andy Weir fan, and I like. This is so freaking me out. I'm watching the feed on my phone while I'm on my iPad, and you seem to be talking, but I'm not hearing anything because it's so far. Don't do that.
It's not super far behind, is it? It's only a couple seconds, right?
Oh God, no! It's like 10 seconds.
That's weird because I actually posted this as ultra low latency. That's very strange. I'm gonna test it.
Hold on, I'm trying to time it.
6 seconds.
Oh, for me, I think it's a lot more.
That's a lot. 6 seconds.
Okay, hang on. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000, 7, 1,000, 8, 1,000, 9, 1,000, 10, 1,000, 11, 1,000, 12, 1,000, 13, 1,000, 14.
You have very short
15,
seconds.
16 seconds.
I don't think it's 16 seconds. I think you're crazy. I think
that's
you're
what
crazy.
because that's what I just did. Anyway, yeah, it's weird because I see you talking, and so I want to stop talking, but you're not saying anything.
But I'm not
because
talking.
It's that far behind.
Yeah, it's just
I know.
it's just behind. It's all good.
I've never known you not to talk. Come on.
I don't talk that much, but it's good that I am if we're doing a freaking.
I finished my bottle.
I still have more drinking to do. I need more ice. Hold on. I'm going to get more ice. I'll be back.
Okay, I'm going to open my little bottle and drink it, if I can get it open, which I may not be able to. I need a boy in the house to open my drinks.
Somebody bought me a bottle of 99 peanut butters, and I am actually...
Oh, I want to know how that is.
I can't hear you because I don't have my headphones on. Hold on.
Okay.
I am super hesitant to drink that. I have never found a 99 anything that tastes good.
Oh, bummer.
But they're great. Okay. Like, if you take 99 berries and you make a daiquiri out of it, you're going to get so drunk and it's going to be fine.
Ooh, I just got a message from your wife.
What is she saying? Is she saying, tell my husband to shut the f up and get off the computer?
No, I sent that I loved her and that I was on the phone with her, and she said she loved me too.
Oh, good.
Laura wanted me to tell you that she got off of the phone because she doesn't have headphones, and Mason went and laid on the bed because he heard your voice. I think he thinks that he's going to have to go home. He's having a hard time realizing this is his forever home. And so we try to limit that as much. That's why I'm on my headphones. He's so good. We played with him outside today. He's so good. We love him so much.
Hold on. Daniel says, Convo moved on. I had to get up. I looked at my first book and noticed rookie mistakes, not many more than I remember. Please don't judge too harshly. Well, I'm going to pull the first two down in a few months. Daniel, do you not have people in your life who will read your works and check them for you? Listen, I don't want to question too hardly. I am hold on. I'm going to look directly at the camera for this. I am extremely blessed. I have a fantastic group of friends. I have a wonderful set of extraordinarily supportive parents. I have an amazing wife.
You do.
I, I, I don't have a lot that I can complain about. My life is pretty good. I have the support that I need.
Oof.
Yeah, and that is the self-publishing before I was ready thing. That's something I'm very cognizant of. I'm going to do a large number of edits, rewrites, everything. And that's one of the great things about Patreon is I can post my stories online, and if people notice something that's wrong with them, they can tell me. Oh no. I have removed
And they should tell
my headset. Don't say thanks. Don't say thanks. Hold on.
I can't get this open.
Okay, there. That's better. I love the fact that I can put my work out there for people to read, and some of them will tell me if things are wrong, and that's really helped me find issues that I didn't necessarily know I was going to have beforehand.
Good Lord.
For anyone that's watching, I'm gonna send you something.
Oh.
If I can find it. Please.
Holy crap.
If you're on here, follow me on Patreon. Read the chapters that I put out. Even if you're not a Patreon, if you're not a patron, read the chapters that I put out for free. If you notice problems, let me know. The more eyes I get on what I'm doing, the better it's... You know what? I need to go back. So this is a rant stream. I want to rant for a second.
You rant.
Okay.
You go, girl.
Actors. Let's talk about actors for a second. So, pick any actor. Don't laugh at me. It's
Robert
not funny.
Downey Jr.
Okay, great. Robert Downey Jr. I don't want to pick him. Pick someone else that we don't like.
Oh. Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy.
It's Killian.
Is it Cillian? Cillian Murphy.
I read that yesterday, it is.
Weird. Okay, so actors make the amount of money that they make because we find value in the product that they are putting out.
Okay.
Now, how much money per year does an individual need in order to meet all of their basic needs without having a large amount of excess money burning holes in their pocket?
Here's the problem with that question. Define basic needs.
Okay. Shelter. Food that is healthy.
I'll agree with that.
Clothing.
Okay.
Minimum level entertainment.
Okay.
Providing for those who are dependent on them.
And then you've got to talk about utilities and
That's part of
gas and car.
That's part of shelter.
Okay.
Okay.
The problem is now.
There's no problem.
Okay, go ahead.
So Daniel says 70. You know what? I'm going to bump that up. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say 100,000. And that's a household 100,000.
Well, and it also depends on where you live.
That's true, to a point.
100,000 would not do in San Francisco what it would do in Oklahoma City.
You are correct. However, there are many people that are making a large amount more than the
Oh,
minimum
absolutely.
necessary to survive on.
Absolutely.
So, and yes, Daniel, you're absolutely right. Location does matter. But that being said, look at actors. You know what? Let's even go with Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. net worth.
Oh, God.
Robert Downey Jr. has a net worth of $300 million, according to just a brief internet search. Okay, that's many degrees higher than the $100,000 necessary to survive on.
Sure.
Okay. What are they doing with that money?
Buying much nicer houses
Yes.
and cars.
That doesn't seem to support why we are giving them more money than other people. I am of the opinion that we are investing money into people with a higher inherent value, damn alcohol, a higher inherent value than the average human being, because we are hoping that they will provide for the rest of humanity at a higher level than the average person.
I disagree, but go ahead.
Why are we giving them our money?
We don't give them our money.
Absolutely we do.
No, we don't. We go to we purchase tickets to go get entertained,
Uh-huh.
and we have no control where that money goes.
That's true. Yes, agreed. We don't have control where that money goes, but we are investing our time, which is a form of money, is a form of time,
Okay.
into that endeavor because we are expecting a value return on our investment. I'm talking about the
Okay.
underlying psychology of the transactions.
Okay.
We go to a movie. Let's just say, for example, the newest. We'll say the Avengers Endgame. We go
Okay.
to Avengers Endgame because we are expecting to get out of that a commensurate value for what we're putting in. Otherwise, we wouldn't spend that money. If we didn't expect to get entertained properly, we wouldn't put that money toward a ticket.
Okay.
Okay,
Agreed.
now, but what are we actually paying for?
Popcorn. Entertainment.
Entertainment, of course, but why?
Because it's fun.
Sure, it's fun, absolutely. I think, though, we should consciously take a higher level approach to the situation. So there's a company, a bourbon company. Daniel, you'll appreciate this. There's a bourbon company called Redwood Empire.
Okay.
Now, the interesting thing about Redwood Empire is that for every bottle of bourbon you buy, they plant a tree.
I like that.
It's very cool. That is a return on your investment that you would not have otherwise expected. Now, Redwood Empire recently came to Trappers and they said, "Hey, we've got a cool thing we want to offer you." And what they did is they gave us these little place settings so that when we did a flight, the place setting described what each of the 3 liquors were, and you could set it in front of your flight of liquor. However, there was a bonus. If you take that little place setting as a piece of paper, and you take it home, you plant it in your garden, it will grow wildflowers.
Cool.
The place setting was paper that would dissolve that had built-in seeds.
Neat. Okay.
Okay, cool. So that is something that we are paying money for that could actively support society in a way that doesn't necessarily lead to extravagance for the owners of the bourbon.
Agreed.
Okay. Now, let's go back to Robert Downey Jr. How big of a house does he have? I don't know, but if I had to guess, he probably has a multi-million-dollar house. Now,
sure.
The problem is, when you become famous like he is, it does require you to have a certain level of security. Because people are going to come to his establishment and try and mob him and take pictures and whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Right, right.
But we are giving him all of our time and money. Is he investing that money, that extra money, the money that's unnecessary for him to survive on, into the infrastructure of our society?
Maybe, maybe not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Honestly, let's look at charities. Most charities, most of the money goes towards maintaining the management. It doesn't actually go towards supporting the charity. So even if he's donating money to charity, is he actually doing anything more than supporting infrastructure, lining someone else's pocket with money? Probably not.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
My issue is this. We have a large number of celebrities in this country. Sports, actors, politicians, business owners in general, who are taking...
What do they call them? Influencers.
Influencers, sure. Hell yeah. Influencers.
Who do nothing.
Who do nothing.
Who literally do nothing.
And what are they doing with that extra investment?
Buying large houses and nice cars.
They're improving their status in life.
Mm-hmm.
I think as middle class, lower class, whatever class citizens that we are, we need to be supporting people who reinvest the extraneous money that they earn into the infrastructure of our country.
I agree.
There is zero reason, with the level of technology that we have, why anyone in this country should go hungry.
Oh, agreed.
Zero reason.
Zero reason.
The amount of food that we throw away is ridiculous.
Yep.
But we are spending our time, when I say we, I'm talking about us, the middle class. We're spending our time and energy investing into people who are doing nothing but enriching their own lives.
Okay. I agree with that.
Why watch sports?
You know, there are some, granted a small amount, but there are some sports personalities, I've had a little bit too much to drink as well, that give back. But they're very few. You're right. Most of them line their pockets and buy bigger houses and nicer cars.
But giving back is one thing. Giving back properly is another.
Absolutely.
I think most of them give back do so in a way that doesn't actually support the system.
There is I don't remember what sport he was in because I'm not really into sports, but there is some African male who's in some kind of sports who supports a lot of these tribes in Africa and does a lot, builds schools. He does a lot, and he does it under the radar. And while you have to respect someone who's doing that, not for the pats on the back, but, you know, for the good of what he's doing, at the same time, how can people get behind him doing that when they don't know that he's doing it? I mean, it's a win-lose.
Who's the biggest, the number one YouTube star on the internet right now?
Oh, no fucking clue.
Mr. Beast.
Never heard of him.
You should research him. You should research him. Seriously. You should research him.
I'm not that generation. Okay, Mr. Beast. I'll look that up.
You need to look it up. So he's the number one YouTuber in the world. He recently held a stream where he would go out and he paid for 1,000 people to get eye surgery so they could see.
Cool.
You'd think.
Well, okay.
But then people accused him of using his acts of hospitality as a way to grow his own fame.
And honestly, you don't know. Is he doing it in front of the camera?
What's it matter?
Or is he doing... And for the person who gets that eye surgery, it doesn't.
That's my point. What does it matter? If he's trying to grow his own fame, who gives a shit? He's literally going out of his way to spend his money to improve the people around him. My rant is about what people do with their money more than how they get it. Yes.
Huh. Okay.
Yes.
I
Well,
looked him up.
let me ask you this. Let me put it out this way, Daniel.
Oh, hey, for those of us who can't read the little tiny print, you need to say what he's saying.
Daniel says, so your rant is about what people do with their money more than how they get it. Well, yes. And I cannot control who is going to support an actor. I can't control who is going to say, Robert Downey Jr. is worth me spending my money and time on. Honestly, I can't control any of this. But it's much easier for the one person, the actor, to say, I'm getting more money than I, as a singular human being, deserve to have. Maybe I should give back to the entities who are sacrificing their time and money to put me where I am.
What entities would that be?
Us. Me, you. We're the ones spending our money and time to elevate Robert Downey Jr. to where he is. And I'm not hating on Robert Downey Jr. He's just...
I know, that's who I threw out there.
Yeah, he's just the person, the example.
I know. But here's my question. How, him as an individual, how does he decide what is worthy of his support?
Well, you have to look at...
Because I can't.
You have to look at...
I certainly can't.
Sure you can. Yeah, we all can. We can look at basic human needs. And so, something I encourage anyone who's out there listening to research, it's called human needs psychology. Human needs psychology basically defines, on an increasing level of importance, what a human needs to meet in order to feel fulfilled in their life. At the very most basic level is security. It's the ability to know that you are protected in life from death, from random death, from you have a shelter, you have food, you have water, you have clothing. Above that is the need for insecurity, which is like randomness, excitement, adventure, that kind of things.
Okay.
A step above that is significance, the knowledge that you are important in the workings of the world, that you stand alone, that you're providing something that no one else can provide, that you individually are important. One step above that is love and connection. The ability to connect to other people and get importance from that. Then you have growth, the ability to become more than what you are, and giving back, the ability to provide to others and raise them up. It's when you look at things like that, when you recognize that that's what makes up human beings, you can very quickly realize that you have a responsibility if you are meeting security, insecurity, significance, love and connection, growth, can recognize that you have the ability as a human being to help other people meet their needs.
Okay, but you as an individual,
Me.
how do you decide which group or individual is worthy of you supporting and which is a scam? Because, you know, coming from a police background,
You create them.
I see scams everywhere.
Yeah, you create them. But someone like Robert Downey Jr. has enough money to be able to create a situation
Absolutely.
without having to pay a specific entity to do so. Like, he can hire someone and say, hey, I want to create a greenhouse in my city that can grow food year-round and provide a farmer's market year-round.
Okay.
And
that's an excellent idea. But unfortunately, so many people don't think along that. They want to give money to a charity because they don't want to put a lot of
they want
effort.
to do right without putting forth effort. Yes.
Exactly.
That's not honorable.
And no, I agree. And I personally don't support any named charities like United Way or Goodwill because of the fact that their CEOs make so stinking much money. It's ridiculous. But I recently read a deal where, and I never thought about this, you know, go to an elementary school and pay off somebody's lunch program. Some kid that can't, their parents can't pay for their lunches.
Yes.
And they have, and they're, you know, they're getting in debt for their lunches. Go pay for a lunch, go pay off somebody's lunch ticket. I like that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to publicize that. It's just a good thing. And it beats paying for somebody's Starbucks, which a lot of people are, you know, they'll drive through Starbucks and they'll say, yeah, let's buy the guy behind me. Well, the guy behind me can clearly afford his own Starbucks. He's already in the fucking drive-thru. Go pay for some kid's lunch.
So real quick, Daniel says, devil's advocate, how much is enough? Where does it stop? Say Robert Downey Jr. does the greenhouse. Great. What next? Maybe he does more, covers lunches on several school districts. Cool. Now what? I think it's less about how much and more about an active effort into solving the problem. You know, in Japan, they don't have janitors. Kids clean the school. They go out.
Nice.
They learn the importance of taking care of their environment.
And that's important.
That's extremely important.
Absolutely.
So, to cover Daniel's question, why not invest in a school and make them have their own greenhouse?
I'd love to see that.
Well, and then have the kids go out and work it. Not only you're teaching the kids how to take care of plants and stuff and animals or whatnot, but you're also investing them in the idea that they are the makers of their own future. I am out growing these tomatoes that I will eat for lunch. If I don't take care of them, if I don't have the knowledge, I don't get lunch.
Absolutely. Read me the comments that are coming up, Brandon. I can't read them.
He says, that's fair, but will everyone look at it that way? Maybe eventually, but it'll be grueling to get there.
Yeah. Agreed.
We're not having enough difficult discussions, Daniel. That's the issue. We need people who will say, look, I know my life is hard. I get it. My life is difficult day to day. But I need to actually invest myself in the difficult discussions necessary to improve life for everyone.
And improving life for everyone is going to improve life for me.
Exactly.
And we need to teach kids that.
Well, we need to teach adults that.
Well, there's that, but adults are harder to teach. You teach kids that, and they're going to grow into adults that are going to teach other people that.
Agreed.
And if you teach kids that, that's not only going to teach them that, it's going to teach them compassion.
Hmm.
It's going to teach them how to see other people's points of view, which
Yes,
we don't teach at
that's
all.
correct.
And I think that's so important. And
That's
that's
correct.
one thing I'm so very proud of you, is that you can see other people's points of view, and you are very open-minded.
Well, it goes
And
back to
people
our
need to be more open-minded.
it goes back to our conversation earlier. You said people are lazy, and I said I don't believe in laziness. I
I know
think
we've talked about that.
I think people are uninspired. I think they're without hope. I think they.
Yep.
You're good, Daniel. He said he's stepping away to prep dinner. We're probably
Bye,
not
Daniel.
going to continue much longer, mostly because I have to pee.
And I'm drunk.
And it's been 2 hours already. We've gone so long.
Seriously, has it?
I know.
Oh my God, it's 5:30 here, so it's 7:30 for you.
So, thank you to everyone who has participated in this conversation. I appreciate you very much.
It's been really fun.
It actually has. I cannot believe we've had this much to talk about the entire time we've here.
You've actually never talked to yourself, because you can always find things to talk about.
I can. I know a lot,
Yeah.
and it's
You do.
It's
You're incredible.
I don't understand how much I know, which is the reason why I want to do this. I want to figure out what I really know, and maybe something I say, like, someone listens to and they latch onto it.
It touches a chord. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. When I was training police officers, I never knew this. When I was training police officers, and I was also in our support group, which was called CHAPS, Cops Helping Alleviate Police Problems, I learned that teaching somebody, training somebody, made me learn more.
Of course, yeah.
Made me realize what I knew, and helped me to understand more. And I never realized that until I became a training officer. And you said that earlier. I think that's a very powerful thing. Things that you know, you should go out and teach somebody else,
Yes.
because you'll know it more, and then they'll know it too, and send them to teach somebody.
I just don't have the opportunity to talk about things as much anymore. Unless it's
I get that.
Unless it's with you, I just don't have the opportunity to really express what's going on in my head.
Well, I love listening to you rant. You are very learned. You have a lot of things that you know. And I've always been impressed by how you learn things that you need to. Like when you worked at Ultimate Electronics, and I am so stinking drunk. When you worked at Ultimate Electronics, you would learn about all your products.
Yeah.
And if anybody needed to know anything, go to Brandon. He knows. And if he doesn't, he'll learn it,
I'll figure it out.
because he'll go out of his way to learn it. And that's people used to be that way, but they're not that way anymore. My teeth are numb.
That's a genetic thing. My teeth get numb too when I drink.
Isn't that weird?
I think it's funny that we both have numb teeth.
It's weird.
I think
Richie's nose used to get numb.
I think this is probably the logical end to our rant stream.
That our teeth are numb?
Well, just the fact that if I don't get off now, I'm going to wet myself.
Well, it's time for you to go then. How many viewers do we have? 3 watching?
We had 3 at the most. It's fine. I just wanted to get on and talk for a little while.
And that's fine. It's always fun.
It is fun.
And I'm always here for that. That's one of the perks of being retired, even though I've been a failure at it.
If I feel like I have enough time, I might do this again next week, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
We used to do one with Laura.
Yeah.
Laura's way better at this than I am.
I'd be interested.
And
yeah.
she's way funnier.
I would definitely be interested in. But you were great. Don't sell yourself short. I needed to have someone here to talk to, honestly.
I had a blast. It was great.
Well, thank you.
And I appreciate Hannah letting you do this.
She's great. I have a wonderful wife. Well, thank you
You do.
so very much for taking your time out to do this. And We might do this again next week. I'm really enjoying doing this.
Have to find some more whiskey.
Do a different one next week.
I poured out the peanut butter and jelly because after the peanut butter, it was awful.
I put a pretty serious dent in. Look at this. Yeah, it was mostly full when I started. I put a good dent in it. I'm feeling great.
Wow, you did? That was mostly full?
I know. I have to pee so bad.
I
have to pee.
had about this much.
And about that much. Oh, I have to
gone.
pee. I have to pee.
Oh, well, you go pee. We'll be finished. And it was fun. We'll do it again. I'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, everyone who stopped by. Daniel especially. Thank you so much for keeping me company. Once again, a huge shout out to all my patrons. Anyone who believes in me and feels like this is a project worth supporting. You are amazing. I can't even express to you how I feel about you deciding to support me. It's something else. It really is. I'm going to get this book done. Hopefully by the end of summer. That's my goal. But I'm also drunk, so I'm probably going to just go ahead and let you go. Thank you, everyone who came by. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a great night. Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.